I hate when people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's both, man. You need to get good at something and get to know a lot of people.
Hey, podcast listener, you're about to discover insider tips, tricks, and secrets to making more sales and converting more prospects into customers with email marketing. For more information about the Email Marketing Podcast or the Autoresponder Guy, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Hey, it's John McIntyre here, the Autoresponder Guy, and it's time for episode 90 of the McMethod Marketing Podcast, where you'll discover how to get more customers in less time, with less effort, with less hassle, and make more money from every single person that comes through your doors, on the metaphorical doors of your website. Today, I'm working on that tagline there. Today, I'll be talking to Travis Rossa. Now, Travis is one of the founders or creators of Kajabi, a membership platform. Now, what's interesting about Travis and his partner Kenny is the way they got started is they're both programmers, and they basically hit up a whole bunch of experts on, gurus or well-known guys in the industry on Twitter, and networked with them and found out that they wanted a membership platform. So they created one, and that's how they built a business, right? Making relationships with the right people. So today we're going to talk about the whole, all about membership sites and what sort of what the secret ingredient of a membership site is, which it's not that secret. It's not really this magic thing. This is something I talk about a lot. And, the difference between recurring and one-time, which one's better, what metrics to pay attention to, all this kind of stuff that matters when you have a membership site, how to make it work. Because membership sites, especially recurring ones, they are amazing in terms of what you can do with them. So to get the show notes of this episode of the McMethod Marketing Podcast, go to themcmethod.com/90. Now, this week's McMaster's Insight of the Week is this. Here's a question for you. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? You got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get healthy, to build your business into the business you want, and to having the relationship you want. It could be anything. The reason I mention this is, I spoke to a mentor of mine, and he made a really good point that the people who are successful in life at anything, not just business, at anything, they get to that point where it's like, look, I'm going to be successful. I don't care what it takes. You want me to wake up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m.? And one guy's doing that. I'm going to go do that, And there's this attitude. It's not that you have to wake up at 3 a.m. to be successful. I don't think that. It's that you have to have this attitude where you're willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to be successful, as long as it's ethical and moral and all that. But you're not going to, bitch out, basically. You're not going to make excuses. So I reckon, that's really the insight this week. Ask yourself, are you willing to do whatever it takes to be successful, or do you want to take things easier? There's not a right answer to this. It's not a perfect, you don't have to do one thing or the other, but definitely something to think about, because if you can realize that you are willing to do whatever it takes, it's going to get a whole lot easier, because you'll be working harder and things will really start to happen. That's where the magic happens. So that's this week's McMaster's Insight of the Week. If you want more insights like this, business building, life growth, all that sort of stuff, insights like this, you should join McMaster's. It's a private training community. Okay, there is a forum in there where you can get advice from me. There's training products on how to write an autoresponder, how to build a sales funnel. It's all really built around the idea of how to build the business that you want and automate that sales and marketing process. Okay, so it operates 24/7. Pretty cool stuff. If you want to learn more about it, go to themcmethod.com/McMasters, and I'll see you inside. Anyway, that's it for now. Let's get into the interview with Mr. Travis Rossa. It's John McIntyre here, the Autoresponder Guy. I'm here with Travis from Kajabi. Now, Kajabi is one of the easiest ways for you to sell content and digital courses. It's a great online membership platform, and they just launched a product called Megaphone, which is a bit of an opt-in or lead pages sort of app, and they've got another product coming called Kajabi Next, which makes it real easy to create digital courses from what I know of. So today, the reason I got Travis on was someone in one of the listeners, the McMethod Marketing Podcast listeners, sent me an email and said, man, you got to get Travis. You got to get someone from Kajabi on the podcast and talk to them about software, about membership platforms, and see, find out what they think about the whole thing. So, when sent them an email, and here we are. So we're going to get into some of the cool stuff that these guys are up to. Travis, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. This is awesome. Thanks for inviting me on your show. I'm excited to talk about some cool stuff today.
Cool, man. Cool. I'm pumped to have you on. Before we get into some of the content, can you give the listener a bit of a background on, who is Travis? And I know you have the business partner, Kenny. So what do you guys do? And what's your thing?
Yeah, so Kenny and I have been friends for over 15 years. We both come from the software industry. We've worked for tons of big companies. We're in Southern California, and there's all kinds of companies down here. And, we used to always meet for lunch. We're like, hey, man, one day we're going to build a business. We're going to do something online. And then in 2009, this is kind of how Kajabi was born. It's kind of weird. Kenny had invented this kid's car wash that he made out of PVC pipe. Like he went to Home Depot and he bought all these PVC pipes. He put them together. He drilled holes in them, and it was like this cool car wash for like kids' bikes and stuff like that. Yeah, because both Kenny and I have
random.
I know, isn't it random? Both Kenny and I have these young kids, and we're like, this is a cool toy. Let's start selling this online. And then I'm like, man, I'm too lazy. I don't want to ship all this stuff. So then we're like, well, what if we make some videos on how to build it, and we'll just make a little simple course on how to build this this kid's car wash. And both of us are software guys. We're super technical, and as we start to figure out which WordPress plugin and how do we connect to ClickBank, all this stuff, I was like, dang, this is hard. And then I thought, what if this is hard for everybody who wants to sell something online? And this was July of 2009, and we're like, hey, I think we could build a platform that does this for people. And back then we didn't know anybody. I didn't know like Frank Kern and John Reese and Jeff Walker, Brendan Bouchard. We didn't know any of those guys back then. But using Twitter, we just started connecting with these guys and doing like programming work for them and just kind of building that trust. And then we let them use Kajabi first. So we actually built it, and then those guys launched in the beginning of 2010. They started launching courses using Kajabi Next. And then in October, we launched it to the public, and overnight we got like thousands of customers, and it was just chaos ever since. And 4 years later, I think over 5 million students have taken a course on Kajabi Next, Kajabi, and been part of a membership site, and our customers have made over $100 million. So
wow,
it's just crazy how two friends had this idea, and now it's like this platform that helps all these people. It's awesome. So
I think what's cool about that story too is that you guys just jumped on Twitter and did some like old school hustling. Like it wasn't like a crazy cold calling deal or anything like that. You just reached out and made some connections.
Yeah, we just took what we were good at, which was building websites and doing stuff like that, and connected. Because I hate when people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's both, man. You need to get good at something and get to know a lot of people. Absolutely. And when you do that, awesome things happen. So
yeah, man. That's how I got my start too. Like, I'm a copywriter and living here in Thailand, and people hear that something like, wow, you're this young guy, you've kind of left your job and you're living in Thailand. And it started with, the whole reason it kind of, happened was because I learned how to write copy, and then I kind of knew the right people and was able to build a relationship out of it, or build a business out of that. Yeah, it can't be one or the other. You really do need both.
Yeah, and there's something about hustling and the opportunity of internet, man. You can really change your life and change other people's lives. So
absolutely. One thing I've realized lately, Travis, is that a couple of years back, I was thinking, I'll do these internet things. So I can go on, live in Thailand and have this 4-hour work week, this Tim Ferriss lifestyle, and all that sort of, like thinking about the benefit, the destination kind of thing. What I realized recently, though, is the reason I like to do it is just because it's so much fun, like waking up and hustling and like being like, I'm gonna go make something happen, like just that. That's like the fun part that I think drives a lot of people to get into business and do well.
Sure. No, I've been ever since I was a little kid. I grew up on a little small farm here in California, and I've always had this vision of something bigger and like creating stuff and being an entrepreneur. I remember I used to take the fruit from my parents' farm, and you couldn't really sell fruit locally because nobody cared because they could just go pick it for free, So as soon as I could drive, I would drive like 3 hours away, and I would start selling fruit, and then I found this air freshener, and it was made out of citrus. So like it was made from real oranges, and I would sell these oranges, and then I would spray this like citrus spray in the air, and people would walk by and go, "Oh man, your oranges smell amazing!" And I just love the concept of marketing and selling, and just the opportunity. I love that stuff. So
nice, man. Well, cool. Well, let's get into some of this stuff with the content and the memberships. Let's tell me a bit about. We talked about this before. We can go in two directions with this, or we can go in both. And we can talk about the software aspect or the membership aspect. One thing I think we should start with is the membership side of things. So, what sort of stuff are you seeing with, you've got all these different customers who are using it to build sites and communities, and what's the listener, someone listening to this is probably going to be wondering, one of the first questions, and this is a question I have because I have a community as well. And I want to know, how do you actually not only build a good community, but keep people around? Because a lot of these things where people pay $100 a month or $50 a month to stick around. So is there a secret to it, or is there, what are people doing?
I think it's the same thing we just talked about before. You got to have that same passion, that same hustle. You got to bring it into your membership site or your online content. I think a lot of times people think they can just set it and forget it. And those type of membership sites tend to have a huge refund rate. But like our customers who have huge passion and really genuine and they're constantly putting in good content, their customers are super stoked. And with our system, right away we built in the social aspects. You can go in there and you can interact with customers. You can talk to them. They can leave you feedback. So I think really connecting with them and being genuine and just always hustling keeps people around. So that's probably first advice I'd give them.
I like it, man. I think the cool part about it, like one thing I found, so this is probably episode 90 or 80 or 90 of this podcast. And, after talking to so many different people about marketing and copywriting and all that stuff, what I've noticed is that there's not really any secrets, man. Like there's no magic words. Like it's like build a good business and have shit that people actually want.
Well, I think the biggest thing is execution. A lot of people are going to be listening to this and they have all kinds of great ideas, but are they going to do anything about it? I mean, I think, everybody has great ideas, but ideas are worthless. They're just going to keep on coming. Yep. The people who succeed are the people who get up and actually do something about it. So,
yeah, man. Dude, it's just such like a classic thing, man. I mean, one thing I've struggled with it too. Like I think we all do. You go through those stages where you're talking about stuff, you're not really doing much, and eventually you realize that you just gotta get up, like just focus on one thing and grind on it, and just
that actually because I used to follow that whole theory, multiple streams of income, which I think is awesome at a certain point. But to get momentum, you got to stay laser focused on one thing because it'll be multiple streams of distraction from whatever that one thing is. I call it single tasking. Focus on that one thing until you get that done, and then move on to the next thing. But when we first built Kajabi, and it happened to us too, when we had this idea for that kids car wash, we got distracted by the technology. But by building a platform like Kajabi and Kajabi Next, you don't have to think about that anymore. You can take those creative ideas and you can execute on them in moments. I mean, the new system that we're coming out with this fall, Kajabi Next, is so easy to build an online course and an online membership site that I'm excited to see what people are going to build because there's no more barriers of technology at all anymore.
Right. One thing I want to know is this idea of like, I think a lot of people are in a position where they've got, they've been working, maybe they've got a product or an ebook or some sort of info thing that they're selling, but they're not really sure about the membership. Like it sounds kind of daunting, and not just because of the technical side, but also because of it just sounds like such a big deal, and I don't know if I can get people to do that, and they're just not sure if it's right for their business right now. So how do you know?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is to find people with passion. And if you have that same passion, it helps. I can't imagine doing a membership site about something that I didn't have passion about. But when I think about the things that I love, oh man, I'm all over that stuff. Like I love playing hockey. I love doing stuff with my kids. I mean, my son won the what's called the Pinewood Derby in Boy Scouts last year. It's when you build those little wooden cars and you put them down the ramps and they time them and stuff. And man, over the years, we've been trying to win that forever. And I'm always going online and signing up for stuff and, watching videos and paying all this money. When you dial into that passion and you have that same passion, I mean, that's the winning formula, really. So,
and do you think someone can get let's say someone has a site, right? They've got a product that they're selling and making regular sales and they've got some traffic coming in. At what point is it the right time to start a membership? Or should they just, if they've got passion and they're willing to hustle and willing to put something together, they can just start whenever?
Well, yeah, it might be daunting to start with that. I might actually do some list building with some of my content and test it out and kind of get an interest out there. And then I think from there, you're really going to see the opportunity to build that membership site. So, I starting with it's like people way back in the day thought they had to do a launch first when they would have been better just focus on list building and getting the word out there about their content. So
absolutely. I mean, that's what I found with mine. And when I did mine, I think it was back in March this year. It wasn't really a launch. I already had an email list, so I kind of set it up, put some content in there, and sent out a few emails. I guess it was a mini launch, nothing fancy, and put I think it was 20 or 30 people in there. I think it was about 30 people initially. It wasn't massive. It wasn't this raging success, but it was a start. Yeah, and then what I've done from that is I've noticed that it's just by showing up every day, adding a bit more content, tweaking this and tweaking that, it gradually gets better. And if you track the right stats, the metrics, that's probably another thing we can talk about in a bit. You can actually, look at when you need to improve and how you need to improve and all that. It's actually quite fun because people keep paying and you keep delivering content. So.
There's something about that when you start seeing those sales coming in, that also motivates you at a whole nother level. So
yeah, there's recurring. I mean, that's another question is like, what do you think about like recurring versus one-time payments?
Well, most of our Kajabi customers are doing a one-time course payment, but there is a percentage of them that are doing that monthly fee. Like Chris Farrell, if you've ever heard of him online, he's really an expert in that space, and he does it by providing that value every single month. He's just constantly adding more content. So if you have a niche, or you're focused on that kind of passion where you can always keep adding more content, then you're set for membership. You're perfect for that. But if you're really just going to teach them that one thing, like how to build a kid's car wash, or how to bake a cake, or whatever it is, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to support a membership. But in time, you're going to know, because your customers are going to start telling you that. They're going to be like, hey, I love this type of content, or this stuff is amazing. So
yeah. So I mean, if you're doing like a kid's car wash, what you really need, like if you want to do the ongoing thing, you really need to like a community that's about kids. So how doing stuff,
Sure.
stuff with kids, because that's something that parents will pay for ongoing.
Exactly. Like you could do a whole do-it-yourself site for parents to build cool toys at home.
That'd be awesome.
I know there's so many opportunities. It's crazy. Like we have a guy who does a cigar of the month club. Okay, so he's actually physically mailing the cigar to all of his customers, so they're paying him on a recurring basis. And then he has a Kajabi site that has information about each one of those cigars, like where it was cut, what kind of humidifier, or whatever, the Herbert. I can't even say that word, but you know what I mean. Those little things that keeps the cigars, fresh. It's like content around that passion. Then you're set with something like that.
Yeah, man. We do this. So I think wine would work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wine would work. Anything that has to do with kids, anything has to do with pets, technology. Right. Like one of our guys here does a whole video course on coding, and he's going to set that up as a membership site, just because you can keep adding content, you can keep improving, and your customers are going to keep demanding that. So
yeah, absolutely. What about metrics? What do you think when it comes to, like, if you wanted to measure the success of if it's a one-time product, that's one thing. You're looking at your refund rate, that kind of thing, and your conversion rate. But when it gets into recurring, this is a bit of a challenge. Is measuring stuff like what metrics should you be measuring, and how what's the best way to measure them?
Well, I think the first thing is you need to figure out how long does a customer stay. What is your customer value? Do they stay for 3 months? Do they stay for 6 months? Or do they just love you and they never quit? You need to get to know those numbers right away, because then you'll know how much you have to spend on that new customer. Every single customer is worth $500 to you. So then I can spend up to that and I'm doing great. The other thing is you need to figure out when do they fall off and why. Now, that's something as a software owner we're constantly like, okay, customers stay on average this long, and why are they falling off? And you want to keep improving to figure out why they're doing that. And the awesome thing is with Kajabi Next, this new platform that we're coming out with, you'll actually be able to see each video, like how much of this video did they watch? When did they fall off? And you might actually find out, crap, half my content isn't even interesting to my audience. I need to work on that, So It's a lot of different metrics you can look at.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, one thing I've struggled with mine is just sort of like the measuring of it. I find like if you're looking at like how long does someone stay, that can be quite difficult to measure, in the sense that I have a spreadsheet, right? And I might look at how many members joined, how many left, but it's quite hard to be like, all right, well, how many people in March who joined in March are still here today? Or how can I track that and say cohort? I think it's a technical term. How can I track that cohort and figure out how long all of them stayed? Because if I'm looking at like the entire thing from March through to now, there's going to be people who signed up in the last 2 months who haven't been at their life cycle, they haven't lived out their customer life cycle yet. So the data is going to be skewed. So I've always, for me, I've had, it's been a bit of a challenge, is figuring out how to measure the lifetime value in an accurate way, in a way that doesn't take, too much time.
Yeah, I think just finding those, like what we call it here is we call it churn, really like how long does a customer stay before they churn out of that monthly recurring revenue. You have to. I'm not an expert on that by any means, because, like you said, it can be quite daunting. And in a way, maybe you don't focus on that too much. You just keep creating good content, and if people keep signing up, then you must be on to something, right? So.
Right. What sort of churn rate? I'm curious. I don't know if you have this data from some of the customers, but I'm curious, what sort of churn rate do you see with, like, obviously it's different for SaaS. When someone gets locked into a SaaS thing, that they're gonna, they might need that for the next 3 years. Whereas with a membership platform, it's a little bit different, where they kind of come in, they do the course, it might be a great course, but then after that, it's kind of like, why would they stick around? So, what sort of churn rates? What's a good and acceptable churn rate for like a membership how-to website?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I can't even remember what the figures were. There was a time when we were very dialed into that. We knew exactly, like, we need to keep it under, 20% are dropping out, or I don't even remember what that was. So I probably don't have the best answer for that. I'm not familiar with those kind of numbers, so.
Okay. Because it's just very curious. One thing I did, I was at a conference recently in Bangkok, and one of the speakers, he talked a lot about, he's got a couple software companies, and he mentioned that one way you do your, you can look at your churn rate, but then you can take your monthly cost, so say it's $100 a month, and your churn rate is, say, 30%, you divide, you take your monthly cost and divide that by 30% to get your lifetime value, which in that case would be $333.
Sure.
So, I thought that was that's a pretty simple way to figure out. The great thing, though, about recurring, and why I like to suggest it for anyone listening to this, is that let's say you had the churn rate of 30% and you had a $100 product, and you got a $333 lifetime value. What's cool about that is it's a moving target. So every time you improve the product, that churn rate goes down. It might only go down a little bit, but it's still going down. And you're going to go from $333 to $340, and then to $350, and then eventually to $400. So there's always going to be a couple of people or a handful of people who just never leave. They just like you and they think you're awesome.
Exactly.
They just want to buy everything. So the sort of that lifetime value, I like the idea, and this only happens when you get into recurring. It's always growing, and that's a really magical thing.
Exactly. It's especially as a software company, we have the same experience where as long as we keep improving and we keep making it better, sure, people are going to drop out, but you're going to keep making progress every single month, and that can be really exciting when we start looking at those kind of numbers, especially when you're doing something you love every single day.
Right. Now, one thing I'm wondering about, I don't know if you guys do this with Kajabi or not, is the issue or the idea of having a forum inside a paid membership site. Do you recommend it?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, and Kajabi does have that all built in. We have like a whole area where you can discuss topics and all kinds of cool stuff. You gotta make sure you're on top of that, because if you open something like that and you just kind of let it go, it's going to take on a life of its own. You want to make sure that if you have a membership site, and let's say it's about cigars or whatever it is, you better make sure you're in there interacting with your audience. Otherwise you have no idea where it's going to go. So you got to be committed once you're doing that. But at the same time, that community is going to create new content for you. It's going to create even more interest and even more reasons why someone would stay with that. Because we've heard examples of people joining Kajabi sites or Kajabi courses and then, interacting with each other in the comments and in the forum and actually becoming friends and, staying committed to that course. So the social part can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's just one of those issues where it's a bit like, and then that makes it more challenging, right? Like, it's one thing to set up like a couple of videos inside a membership area, but it's another thing to kind of set up, let's have a community, let's get this forum going, because then you got to have people logging in and interacting and all that kind of stuff. So one thing I've had, one issue I've had, and I think a lot of people face this challenge, because it's such a great position to be in when you do have that kind of business with the recurring revenue coming in. But it can be quite hard to get that forum going and to trigger that. So, do you have any ideas for engagement or what sort of works to keep to build that sort of community?
Well, I think one of the things in the beauty of what we have with Kajabi is you actually can kind of set up the forum however you want. So if you're building like you can set up different categories and different topics, and we go with the approach where it's a very simple and clean user experience. If you have relevant topics in there and you're interacting with your audience, you're saying, hey, go to the forum and make sure you're letting us know about this, or you're asking questions about that, you can really get the snowball rolling down the hill, and then the community is going to start interacting right away. One of our customers, Trey Smith, does like an iPhone membership site on how to build iPhone games. And as soon as he turned on his forum, it was like right away people are like interacting. So, as long as it's relevant to your course, you're going to see some engagement with it. Yeah. So
I think it's one of those things where you've got to, you need the great content. It's got to be relevant. You got to be having stuff that people actually care about. And as long as that's the foundation, the forum can enhance that. But if you don't have that, go work on that before you start looking into the forum.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what about, I'm kind of thinking about some more stuff. What about mistakes? What sort of mistakes you see people making when they're trying to build a membership platform?
I think sometimes when you're going too big, when maybe you should start a little bit smaller is the way to go.
What would be an example?
An example would be, we see people with these big grandiose ideas, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if they would have just started out with something nice and simple and get some customers in there, they're going to have a much better chance of success than, really trying to boil the whole ocean in that first membership site getting off the ground. So that would be my advice, is keep it simple and execute on that idea. Just make any progress and you're going to find success eventually.
Mm-hmm. It's very much like just doing, you're really building, whether you do the ongoing, whether you do the one time, it's very much just building a creating product and selling it, and the delivery mechanism in this case might be Kajabi or a membership platform.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things out there to deliver it, but just getting it done and getting out there is step one.
Interesting, man. Interesting. What are some of do you have any interesting stories from people who've customers or people in the industry who are building membership sites? Just stuff that's either crazy or there's amazing success stories or huge failures. Do you have any cool stories?
Well, I mean, we have all kinds of. There's a couple of really weird topics that come up every once in a while that we see our Kajabi customers. Like one of the weirdest ones at the beginning is some lady had created a website called Strip and Grow Rich, and it was how to be a successful stripper, and it was from the business side of it, like how to treat your customers, how to get the most tips. And I was just like, wow, this is so creative. I never thought that someone would make, Did
you watch the videos? Did you check it out?
Yeah, we checked it out. It was very professional, it really was like a business course, but about being a good stripper. It was hilarious.
Wow. That's
it was all serious, too. She had testimonials, the whole thing. It wasn't meant as a joke. So,
wow.
I mean,
Strip and Grow Rich. Here, I just found it. So she's still out there, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And then all the creative topics, like there's a lady that has a Kajabi site on horse ballet, and it's about teaching your horse how to dance. And I'm like, it's crazy. And what that tells me is there is no end to the possibilities of content out there. So when we first built Kajabi, we used to always say, everybody's either good at something or they know someone who's good at something. So, I mean, everybody listening to this has access to content or, an opportunity to create some kind of online course or online membership.
Right. Yeah, at some point, I mean, yeah, if you can have a site, I mean, Stripping and Growing Rich, I mean, that'll probably take some practice to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's horse dancing.
Yeah, it's horse ballet. Ballet. And she actually is doing well. She does multiple six figures on her courses when she comes out with them. So
wow. Okay.
So I mean, it's just about getting out there, getting some content out there, and there's success around the corner.
Nice, man. That's so interesting. Anything else? Any other? What's the crazy? Is the stripping one the weirdest one?
No, let's see. There's always weird ones that we come across. I mean, just all kinds of weird, like how to massage your date, how to just all kinds of just like how to fly a helicopter.
Wow.
How to pass Navy SEAL training in the U.S. Navy SEALs. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So.
Yeah. I just noticed with this Strip and Grow Rich program, I'm on the website now, stripperschool.org. You can actually go and there's mentoring, so you can get a stripper mentor to mentor you how to be a stripper. Yeah, man, the hustle huddle.
Yeah, there you go. So there's really no end to the possibilities of creating a membership site.
Absolutely, man. It's impressive, and it's cool seeing like how they change and how there really are there really is no excuse. Like if someone's trying to get into this or trying to make money or wants to make more money, there's so much opportunity out there. Whether you want to play a small game or whether you want to play a big game.
Yeah, it's endless to the different niches and different interests online. So.
Well, cool, man. We're coming up right on time. But before we go, tell me a bit more about Kajabi, how it works, and why someone listening to this might want to sign up today and get started.
Yeah, I mean, the Kajabi platform has had huge success, and we're so grateful and almost humbled by what we've been able to do for our customers and for people out there. And what we're doing here in the future with Kajabi Next is going to be on a massive scale because we've taken the best things in Kajabi and we've simplified it and made it even more powerful with this new system. So I am just so excited to see the kind of the new businesses and the new courses that are going to be out there. And I'm just stoked. If anybody wants to find out about it, you just go to kajabinext.com and you can kind of see a little video on that. And it's really exciting with what's just around the corner.
Cool, man. Well, I guess that might bring out some more stories, some more weird niches. I'm sure it's only going to get weirder, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
What about, tell me quickly about this Megaphone app. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so, when we first built Kajabi, Kajabi was good at two things. It was great at creating a membership portal, and it was great at creating launches and squeeze pages and, all those marketing pages. And customers kept saying, man, if you could just have like a sales page, marketing page, platform, that'd be awesome. So about 2 years ago, we started building this Megaphone system, and it has been, people love it. It's super easy to use. There's tons of templates in there. Within 30 seconds, you can make an opt-in page, connect it to your email provider like iContact and Fusion, all those great systems out there. And just another tool that we've created, and we try to make them super simple, and we want our customers to look really, really good on their side. So it's a beautiful, simple application.
Okay. I've got an interesting question for you. It might be hard to answer. I don't know. Well, what's the difference between, say, Kajabi and other membership platforms out there like Amember and Wishlist and that kind of thing? And then I'm curious as well about how does Megaphone compare to, say, Lead Pages or Unbounce and those other ones? How do you differentiate yourselves?
Well, with Kajabi, Kajabi is its own platform, so it's self-hosted. So when you look at stuff like Wishlist is a plugin that you're going to have to install, and it's got to be on WordPress, and it's got to be on a host. So we really can't really compare those two, but there is other options out there. It's just our system is super easy to use, and there's really no technology. You don't have to know anything about technology to use them. And then Megaphone, there's all kinds of options out there. There's Lead Pages, like you said, Unbounce. We like to focus on really, really easy to use software, and on the customer side, like what your page looks like when we're done is we want it to be beautiful and it converts really well. And I think we've always been able to prove that our pages do that really well. And Megaphone is still delivering on that same promise. So,
nice, man. Cool. I'll have links to all that to KajabiNext.com, MegaphoneApp.com, and then Kajabi.com as well in the show notes at themcmethod.com. Travis, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to discover more insider tips, tricks, and secrets about driving sales with email marketing, sign up for daily email tips from the autoresponder guy. Go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Sign up, confirm your email address, and I'll send you daily emails on how to improve your email marketing and make more sales via email. You'll find out why open rates don't matter and the 7-letter word that underlies all effective marketing and much more.